Okay, so just went over the secondary. Now let's concentrate on the front seven, mostly the defensive line. So if we look right in front of us, number 99, Javon Kinlaw made a few plays. That's a tackle for 3. That registers as a stop, 2nd and 7. But it was really Arik Armstead's show. He was all over the place. Bosa, Chase Young obviously did their thing, as did Javon Hargrave. So let's talk about the trenches. All right, so this is probably one of the funniest plays of the year. If you just watch the quarterback, don't watch anybody else, obviously, there is a history between 6 and 97, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Baker, Browns, 49ers. Mayfield, okay, just watch him. So he quote unquote blocks him, even though that's not a block. That's really, and Bosa said after the fact that 10 is fast, and that's the only reason he got around me. Mayfield puts his arms up like they just won the Super Bowl, and then crouches over and flexes at the very last minute. Let's get that in here so you guys can see that it's too good. Look at him. He's crouching over and he's flexing like they just, what just happened there? This was a 6-yard gain, mind you. Baker. Okay, so after talking trash to Nick Bosa, what could possibly go wrong? So, 1 minute and 10 seconds of game time later, Baker drops back, rolls out, has nobody to throw to, and look who. This is karma. And Fred Warner pokes the ball loose. But what could possibly be going through your mind where I am going to talk shit to the 49ers defensive line? You can watch one series of any game and come away with, you know what? I'm not going to pick a fight against these guys. I'm not sure what Baker was thinking, but within a matter of a minute, a span of a minute, he came away and watched Bosa get up from the pile and then does his little shrug. The worst case scenario for the Bucs. So Baker gets his laugh on one play, comes back on the next play. And mind you, this is a coverage sack, but nonetheless, Warner splits it. Good hustle. Great job of going for the ball. And turnover just like that. So it's tough to quantify athleticism. And I really think that's one of the biggest areas that Chase Young's helped improve the 49ers. So they just run a little game here where Hargrave goes out, Young twists inside. So they run a little stunt. And just the fact that the opposite color flashes is enough to make Mayfield drop his eyes, tuck the ball, and have to scramble for a gain of 2. And those are the hits against number 57 that you just don't want your quarterback taking. So that's what Young brings to the table. So I mentioned this was a highlight tape for Arik Armstead. You should get credit for beating 2 people here. And okay, let's look at 99 too, because if Armstead doesn't get there, Kinlaw has a sack right there, so that's a good job by him. And again, less is more with Kinlaw, but this is all Armstead. And coming into this game, he had 12 pressures on the season, and he finished this game. I'm laughing because it's like video game numbers. He finished this game with 10 pressures. That is absurd. But this gives you an idea of just how dominant he was. Slower guards just have no chance against an athlete like Armstead. So I want to put this play in just because when you have to resort to multiple trick plays, right? That's when you know you can't get over on a defense. That's when you know I'm not good enough to run my base offense against their base defense. So these are the plays. Like the 49ers were hurt on a couple screens. I showed in the secondary review there are a couple seam passes. But sure, the Bucs were able to score off this because it was an end around. And I mean, it was a good call, but these are the plays that aren't sustainable. And the way the 49ers have been playing the run in the last couple weeks anyway, like it makes me feel good about their prospects moving forward. But missed tackle by 54. But again, the takeaway is these are not going to be the plays that beat the 49ers. So I wouldn't count this as a pressure, but I just want to show the kind of chaos that Armstead was causing. Like he barrels the center back into Baker's lap. Probably fortunate to avoid anything, any kind of disastrous injury from the center and Baker, but low center of gravity. He trips, but still, man, What a day from Armstead. First round pick, Javon Kinlaw. He had a really nice game. Like, if that's anybody else, right, we are screaming, hey, great play. They were showing highlights, but Kinlaw holds his ground, sheds a block, avoids another oncoming blocker, and makes a tackle for loss. Like, you need your depth players to make plays because Armstead, Hargrave, like, they're not going to be able to play 75 snaps. And it's not fair to ask them to play that much. So for Kinlaw to be able to give the 49ers this kind of production, even if it is against the Bucks, that is important, and that does matter. Okay, so we can't forget about the rest of the front seven, right? That means the second level players, and that means Fred Warner. If you are an offensive coordinator, in what world is this a good idea, right? Hey, we're going to leave the best linebacker in the NFL unblocked, and we're going to hope that we get to the edge against him. It's just not going to happen. All right, 2 plays later, the other linebacker, Dre Greenlaw, who's having a heck of a season. Watch him sink underneath this throw, read the quarterback's eyes, and do everything except come up with the interception. I seriously feel like the 49ers could have had 4 or 5 interceptions this game. There's Armstead again getting in the face of the quarterback, but Dre's going to want that one back. Let's watch Armstead. Double team. Split it. Almost. And maybe that was enough to affect Baker, but we need those, 57. So Armstead has this patent arm over move where, I mean, he's already 6'7", so he's going to be naturally 4 or 5, maybe even 6 inches taller than the person he's going against. But watch his feet. Like that little Euro right there where he fakes one way, fakes the other real quick. Like gets his second foot in the ground faster than yours. And then he has the athleticism to just, like, he's winning instantaneously off the snap. Dang. Another area where Chase Young really has made a difference is just being able to play the run. 49ers, opposite of Bosa, haven't had an edge rusher who can hold up against the run. Like, this is no everyday left tackle here. This is Tristan Wirfs we're talking about. And Young locks him out, makes a tackle at the line. Like, that is exactly what the 49ers were looking for when they went to acquire Young. And obviously, you know, he's making plays as a pass rusher, but I feel like these type of plays against the runner equally as important because, again, that's what you need to be able to rush the passer. So good job there. Just technically from Young. I think one of the things that makes Fred Warner, I mean, there are a laundry list of things that make him the best linebacker in the NFL, but he just doesn't get stagnant during the play. Like, he's not going to sit there and guard grass. Like, it's not mad. He's going to find work. He's going to relate to a receiver. And so he's staring at Baker, right? If he looks one way, he's going to look the other. And as soon as he turns to look right, to look to our right anyway, look, like, he's already moving that way. Gets in the throwing window. Baker has no idea where he is. Makes just an athletic play to get a hand on a pass. So this is probably my second favorite look, with the first one being Bosa, Chase Young, lined up over the center. But in my opinion, when Bosa's on one side, the 3 other D linemen are on the other, and Fred Warner's on the same side as Bosa, like, chaos happens. There's going to be somebody who wins. And in this case, first, let's just watch Bosa. How quick he gets off the line. 1-2, already won. Like, you're done. You've already lost. And then Fred Warner makes a tip. But I mean, it's pretty impressive, his athleticism. I don't think he gets enough credit for how good of an athlete he is, how good of an athlete he's able to change directions. Warner's obviously a heady player, knows when to get his hands in a throwing lane, so gets credit for a nice little pass breakup here. But this play is more Bosa, if anything. So just watching him 1-2, gets upfield, hits Baker late. Yeah, these guys they get after it. So when you get into obvious passing situations with these 4, somebody's going to win. And on this play, it was 98. Javon Hargrave. 1-2. Forces Baker to move. Has to check down. Running back bobbles, and he's lucky he doesn't get decapitated by Dre Greenlaw. But, I mean, it's all about this move right here, right? 1-2. In his face. Plays over. Plays dead. And they do that quite a bit. Who else? So by the time Baker gets to the top of his drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, goes to gather. He already like, this sucks. This if I'm a quarterback, if I'm an offense, if I'm a play caller, I'm not sure what you do against this. This is really tough. By the time he is gathering to throw, he has 97 in the most literal sense draped all over him, bringing him to the ground. So, of course, he's going to be inaccurate. Watch Bosa when he makes contact with the right tackle. Contact, and watch the right tackle go backward. No, sir. Like, that is what we call having pop in your hands. That is some serious strength, and that's how you get an interception. So this is new. This is the first time that I've seen this season. So we have Chase Young as the isolated edge rusher, and then the 3D lineman on this side, but it's Nick Bosa in the A gap, and then it's Hargrave, and then it's Armstead. So Bosa ends up losing his footing right here, so he can't execute whatever move he was attempting. But I'm sure you guys remember Arik playing on the edge there. Talk about having some pop in your hands. Again, watch when he makes contact, and then he just locks him out. At that right tackle just doesn't stand a prayer. Armstead probably should have had his second sack on this play, but Bosa's there to clean it up, as is Greenlaw. And now we're just at the point where Steve Wilkes is basically just showing off. So Armstead on the edge, Hargrave, and then on the same side again, you got Bosa and Young. And if you just hear the way he talks about him, I think Chase Young might be back. So they don't end up getting any pressure or anything on this. But the fact that those two can line up on the same side, like, that is going to be very difficult for the opposition to stop. And then last play of the game has to end in a sack, right? So who gets the pressure here first? I don't know who you credit that with. Obviously, Young gets a sack. It's probably Young, right? Yeah, I mean, Bosa barrels the right tackle. But that's it. And that's what happens when you have to pass the ball over and over and over again against this unit. So Seattle is going to have a lot of problems containing these front four.